Hey everyone, and welcome to day 23 of my horror movie review marathon, and I will be talking to you guys about The Exorcist. I had, seen this movie plenty of times, and I'd say it was one of the most scariest movies I've ever seen. I mean, come on. This is about a little girl who gets possessed by a demon, and these two priests have to come in and unpossess her. I'd have to definitely give it up for Linda Blair, who, she played this girl named Regan, and, everything seems perfectly fine in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, slowly but surely, throughout the movie, you start to see her character change, and at first I didn't really think, much of it, but it's sort of like a, prelude to what's, bound to happen to her. It doesn't seem at all that serious until, she gets, taken to these doctors and bad things start happening to her, and then she starts to, lash out at people, and it starts to scare her mom. I felt bad for her mom. I really did like the fact that, it didn't seem like this movie was going to be as scary as, looking back at when I first saw it, I mean, I was scared. Now I kind of remember all of, those famous scenes in the movie. And so, I mean, I wouldn't say I was as scared by them anymore, but they were still pretty fun to watch. Not that this is a fun movie, it's definitely terrifying. It's still got that scare factor. It ends up happening to this girl, just really terrible things. You see her, appearance change, and this all happens right before her mom eventually, seeks the help of Father Karras. They bring in his, this other guy who actually ended up supposedly, experiencing sort of demonic stuff beforehand. I didn't really have much knowledge about exorcisms before, and I don't really think I still know much about them. And they actually did bring that up in the movie at one point. Be like, anybody knows how an exorcism works. Damien said that. I'd say some of the things that I really liked about this movie was the makeup job. The effects, the makeup that were done on Linda Blair, I thought they looked pretty terrifying. And you have the contacts, and the scars and all that stuff. And even, you guys know, if you've seen this movie, you know which scene was really, really gross. And it's the split pea soup thing, and oh man, that it still gets me every time, and it just makes me think of Scary Movie 2 and all that stuff. Even there's just several scenes in this movie that just remind me of Scary Movie 2. So if you've seen either one of these movies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I wouldn't say that aspect alone sort of drew me out of this movie. I still enjoyed it. I was just really surprised at how much swearing this girl was doing, even though it probably wasn't even her doing it in the first place. It was the darn demon. It was pretty crazy for a movie that was made back in the 70s. I mean, I'm just surprised that they even allowed that to even happen. And I'd say that the acting was pretty decent in this movie. I can't really say for sure who I liked the most. I think they all did a pretty decent job. Just bad stuff was happening left and right, and it was always good to see what their reactions were to these situations, because it was actually really surprising that, this girl was being possessed and bad things were happening. I was surprised that no one could really hear all the ruckus that was happening in the house, with her screaming, banging windows open, breaking stuff. It's pretty intense. I did find the priests that were involved in this exorcism, how they both sort of came from these really troubled past, stuff had ended up happening to them before they met Regan. So the older guy, he supposedly found this thing, and he had this vision of the demon that he comes across again when he meets Regan. And then you have Damien, who obviously his mom had died and all that stuff, and things were, you know, really troubling him and upsetting him, and it almost felt like he was getting weaker by this, but he just had to be strong. But he seemed pretty brave in this movie. But I really liked his acting the most. Linda Blair. I think this movie's pretty, you know, awesome and iconic. I still watch it now and then. And yeah, it's just like, you know, it's pretty heavy for a movie that, you know, doesn't really have that much going on, but it's just so powerful and just crazy and intense. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of The Exorcist. What was your favorite moment in this movie? And come back tomorrow for my next horror movie review. And as always, you guys can subscribe to my channel. I've got more movie reviews, movie updates. Come back for a Chill Thursday video. You guys can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. And I'll see you guys later.